For today's project, we're going to make a locked half hitch paracord bracelet. It's going to be made out of two separate pieces of paracord. We're going to have to weld them together. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Basically, it's going to be alternating stripes of orange and black in this case. It's a pretty simple design, but you need to hold things very tight while you're working on them. As far as measurements go, I have a 7.5-inch wrist. And for me, if I had 4 pieces of paracord on each side, that would be exactly the right amount, but I would choose to do 5 feet of paracord from each color to be sure there was enough. If you do 6 feet, you're going to have some extra. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you have some extra, of course. So the first thing we need to do is join 2 pieces of paracord. The easiest way to do that is just to melt them together. I'm just going to smooth off the ends here and just chip off some of this excess. Basically, I'm going to burn one end with the flame, then burn the other end and touch them together. That's not going to make a super strong connection, but for the purposes of this, it'll be strong enough because we're not going to use it as a weight-bearing thing. So let's begin. Okay, we'll get that nice and melty there. Give it a little extra so it stays melted while we're doing the other one. Okay, now we're going to jam them together while they're still hot. Okay, that's all good and melted, and now I'm going to sort of smooth it down so it's and basically it's joined together. It's, like I say, if you pulled hard enough, it would break apart. But for purposes of crafting, this is just fine and dandy. Okay, now we need our 2 pieces here. And we're going to start by taking the ends, sliding them through the top of this piece. Pulling them all the way through here. And what we want to do is we want to make sure we have a loop here, and we want to balance it so we have this piece here going underneath so it's not visible when you're actually wearing it, because it doesn't look super pretty. That's one of the things about melting paracord. It doesn't look the best. So we're going to carefully adjust this to make sure it goes underneath. And as you can see, by doing it like that, it's right on the bottom and you don't see it from the top side. Now I'm going to use a jig for this. I have it set at 8 inches because I always like to give myself a little bit extra. And again, with the jig, all you do is snap the piece in place. Make sure it's in there pretty sturdy. It doesn't always stay good. Sometimes if you use these pieces a lot, they stop connecting real good. And we'll turn the jig over, and now we need to run the other piece through. Again, we're going to go from the top. You can choose either the bottom or the top one, whichever you prefer. I usually use the top one, although you do sometimes get a cleaner look if you go with the bottom one. It's totally up to you. I'm going to pull that through. And we'll connect it over here. So this is going to be our working side, and we'll be building from here to the other end. Now the knotting process on this is pretty simple. It's just going to be loop overs. So what you're going to do is we'll start on the left side. We're going to take the orange one, we're going to loop it over, and we're going to loop it through this piece too. So it's going to be looped through all 3 pieces, and then underneath and through. And now we're going to pull that tight and get everything nice and tight for starters here. Okay, so that's your first knot, and that's reasonably tight here. Just so you can see closer, you can see the loop just goes across and then through the bottom. Now we're going to repeat that with the black side. Again, we're going to go over the top like so. And over this piece too. Then we're going to go under all 3 pieces and pull it through. Now the trick with this is to apply nice even tension every time we do it, and to hold this side where the 2 of the same color is together, hold them parallel like this, so that when the knot comes tight, as you can see, they're right next to each other. So when I pull, what it does is it makes a nice double thickness here and single thickness on this side, and that's what makes the alternating color bands really stand out. Now we're going to go on the left side again with the blue, with the orange, and again we're going to make our loop over the top of all 3, pull it through, and tighten it up while holding the black one so that both of the blacks are nice and parallel. And we just slide that up, pull it up tight, and again I'll just bring that up closer so you can see. You can see the 2 blacks here are running parallel in this case. And that's really the secret to this one. Again, we'll go with the orange one, make the loop on the top, slide it through, tighten it while holding the 2 black cords parallel. Oops, I'm sorry, I messed up there. That had to be the black one. Doing too much talking explaining it. At least it's easy to tell when you make a mistake because they're the 2 separate colors. So again, we're going to do the black one over and under. And again, we will keep the 2 orange ones parallel this time and slide this up. Now you want to keep them all nice and tight so that you get a nice pattern here. You might need to do some adjusting when you finish it because sometimes you just don't have one tight enough, and you can just make some adjustments. Now we're going to do the orange one again. Again, over all 3 and pass the orange one through the loop. As we tighten the orange one, we're going to hold the black one tight and just slide that up here and get that nice and tight. So as you can see, we're starting to get a pattern here of alternating orange and black, orange, black, orange, and so on and so forth. Okay, now we're going to do the black one again, over the top, through, slide it up and get it nice and tight here. Okay. And there we go. Now we'll do the orange one again. Through. Hold the black one tight so the 2 are parallel. Slide it up and tighten it good. You notice I'm just massaging it a little bit after each one. That's just to try to make everything be more consistent, the same tightness, the same spacing between. Now let's go do the black one again. Over the top of all 3. Through the loop on the bottom. And pull it tight. Okay, time to do the orange one again. Again, over the top of all 3, underneath, pull it through, tighten it up. Time for the black one, over the top. As you can see, it's a very simple weave that we're doing. It's just a matter of, keeping everything decently tight and making sure everything's looking nice and even, making whatever adjustments you need to do after each one. Anyway, I think you have the idea of this. What I'm going to do now is stop the video, and I'm going to finish up the braiding, and then I'll start the video again when it comes time to finish off the bracelet. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, I'm on the last few here, so I'm just going to start the video up again. Just get these finished here. And again, just the same exact pattern, holding it parallel and tightening it up, pulling it up. It does get a little harder towards the end because you're running out of room and you're running up against this piece of the connector here. So what you have to do, just sort of, pull pieces through and just slide it up to tighten it a bit. Just a couple more and we'll have the weave done, and then we can finish off the bracelet. The biggest trick on this is to tighten the weave when you're down here, when there's a lot of space between this bump and the connector. If you just sort of slide it up and everything, it doesn't work too good. So you tighten it down here and you slide it up, and that keeps everything looking pretty nice and neat. That one doesn't look right for some reason. Yeah, and if you see one that doesn't look right, just you know, pull it off and go run it again. There we go, that's better. And one more orange, and I think okay, now you have a decision to make here when you're coming to the end. Over here, I started with an orange loop. Over here, do I want to end with an orange loop or do I want to end with a black loop? It's completely up to you, whatever you prefer for your style. I'm going to end with a black loop, so I'm going to push this up just a bit to give me some working space and do one more black. And now I'm going to sort of just get this last one adjusted here. There we go. And then I'm just going to spread everything out a little bit to make it tight end to end. And that's the bracelet. Now we're going to take it off the jig and we're going to finish it off. Okay, now keep in mind when you finish off your bracelet, you want the parts that don't look too good to be on the inside of the bracelet here. So you notice this piece goes to the edge right here. It's sort of on the corner. So we're just going to slide that one down a little bit before we burn it. So it's going to be like right on the edge of the bracelet. And this one will be on the back side. So the first thing we need to do is cut these off. I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch of working space to do my burn. Just like about that much. And the same on this side. Okay, now what I'm going to do is burn this to make a plug so it can't come apart. Just heat it up good till it starts melting, and then just press against it to spread it out. And what that does is it widens it so it can't come out the hole. Now I have to do the same thing over here on this one here. So same thing, heat it up. Let it melt down a bit here. I want to melt that one down as close as I can to the end and push it up against. Because it's black, you can't really see it too much here against the thing, against the front side. So I'm just going to flatten out a little more with the scissors there. And now it's nice and tight and won't come apart. So this is the project. As you can see, I did make one mistake here. I didn't pull tight enough, so I've got a little extra loop here. That can be worked a little bit by just moving and adjusting. To make it look better. You're going to find the occasional mistake like that when you're weaving. But as you see, it's a nice pattern. It goes alternating orange, black, orange, black, orange, black, orange, black in stripes. And like I say, sometimes you just need to work it a little bit to get everything all nice and perfectly aligned. It's one of the challenges is providing the same amount of tension every time you tie a knot, and when you don't, you get slight variations. That covers it for this project. I hope you enjoyed learning how to do a locked half hitch bracelet. I'll see you on the next project. Thanks for watching.